just seems it's just such a natural thing, I think, bringing the two together, the Gaeilge and the Forest School. So we've a lot to get through, so we will get started, I think. So I'll just share my screen here. Is that okay? Can everyone see that?
That's perfectly so. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can see the screen. Yeah,
okay.
thanks so much.
Yeah. So, I was thinking a nice place to start because I don't know what level of Irish people have, and there could be so many different. You could have a couple of focal, or you might be fluent in Irish. I don't know. So, a nice place to start, I think, and a place that makes sense to start as well, is by giving you the words for forest school and nature school in Gaeilge. So, the Irish way to say forest school is Scoil Faoirse. Now, you might be sitting there and saying to yourself, well, actually, I have a forest school as Gaeilge and I don't use that word. I use something else. And that is totally fine because what you'll see throughout this webinar is that there are so many different ways to say the same thing as Gaeilge. So just for the purpose of this webinar, I've said Scoil Faoirse. So even if you don't speak any Irish in your forest school and you want to start incorporating a couple of focal, you can start by telling your participants, okay, guys, we're coming into Scoil Faoirse today. We're coming into the forest school. And then for the people that might have a nature school, there's a few different ways you can say nature school. So I think the most widely used word would be scoil and that's a, pretty much a direct translation from English to Irish. So skull being school and dúlra being a word for nature. And you'll see on the screen here, there's two other ways that I know of that you can say nature school, but these two other ways are a lot more descriptive of what the nature school actually is. And you'll find that with the Irish language as well. A lot of the time, the words are a description of what the thing actually is. So a skull faoin air, a school under the air, a skull faoin nádur, a school under nature. So nádur is another word for nature as well. But again, I feel they're a lot more descriptive than scoil So there's the two ways to say nature school and forest school. And what I hope you guys will gain from this evening. Sorry, just trying to move my slides here. Yeah, so what I hope we gain, what you all gain from attending this workshop, is that we can all together create a really fun and relaxed introduction in how we can incorporate Irish into forest school sessions. And I really hope that everyone leaves this webinar with what you feel are helpful and practical tools as Gaeilge that can easily be incorporated into your forest school sessions. Because I know if I was on this webinar, that's what I would want. I'd want practical things that I can bring into my forest school sessions. And I really hope that everyone feels more confident to use Irish while in forest school, no matter if you only have a couple of focal to being a fluent Irish speaker. It's just about gaining that confidence and the practice in incorporating Irish into your forest school sessions. So, without further ado, um, I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about the different dialects of Irish. So we are quite a small island, a small island, but on this island we have three different dialects of Irish, and the three different dialects are very, very diverse. So you have the Canuns Ulla, which is the Ulster dialect of Irish, and you have the Canuns Connacht, which is the Connacht dialect. So that's the one that I'm most familiar with and the one that I would be speaking from day to day. And then you have the Canuns na Moon, which is the Munster dialect. And I just thought, rather than me sitting here and trying to describe to you all how diverse the language is, I thought, why not get you all into a little breakout room, get you all chatting, and what I hope you'll gain from this is you'll be actively engaging in that diversity of the language that I'm trying to explain. So, if everyone either you can write down these questions or if you can remember them, that's fine. But if you're anything like me, I'd have to write them down. So there's three questions that your group will have to answer in the breakout rooms.
I'll put them
So
in the chat now. Say them slowly, Lisa, and I'll write them in the chat. Yeah.
okay. So the first question is just, how do you say how are you as Gaeilge? So all these questions, try and answer them in Irish. If you can't answer them in Irish, that's fine as well, okay? So again, remember, this is a fun space. It's not about feeling like you have to know everything or that you have to have the right answer. So yeah, the first question, how are you as Gaeilge? How do you say that? And then the second question is, how do you say mushroom as Gaeilge? So someone had actually popped that into the chat a few minutes ago. So someone here knows it. So what is mushroom as Gaeilge? And the third question, what is the Irish word for hug? Is that okay, Kerry?
Yeah, so I'm going to put you in a breakout rooms now, guys. There'll be 5 of you. And how long will we have, Lisa?
I'd say 3 minutes. We'll give you a
Three.
minute for each question
Okay,
and then we'll
great. So
come
I'll
back
I'll
in.
call you back in 3 minutes and I'll
Yeah.
put you in
And
breakout.
have fun. Have fun. Don't stress. So do you want me to go into the room three, Kerry?
Oh, 1 second. Oh, oh, there's 8 people per room now. Okay, it's fine. You don't have to go in a room, Lisa, or yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Lisa, there's 8 per room, not 5. Sorry.
So you use this time in the breakout room, guys, to practice your Irish and to learn
Yeah.
from one another. Because that's what this evening's about too, is just creating space for you guys to practice your Irish and to learn from one another.
Yeah, they've gone into the
Okay.
yeah, they're going in.
He's fully listening. In social media. Oh, I'm new to that. So yeah, I said I'd join the webinar series just to hear how everyone, the language being used and yeah, see a few faces.
Who's that?
The bar schools through the page. That's when I actually put a face. Brilliant. Yeah.
1 second.
Actually, clear, I hadn't done any through Gaeilge and I had.
Tá Brónarum, I'm sorry, tá sam gur duine cínta cainstan sin. Someone was talking there, but I couldn't really hear. Tá an lín ag bris sús. The line is breaking up.
Former an focail fás éíthe is even lom an focail sin agus den mushroom freshen in an grúpa.
Mushroom? No, mush-aroon.
Mushroom, I'm not ní mé rócín sin ná mar ní ra mé an éislistáil
Okay.
yeah, so fás éíthe ar réon chur agus béidir go dógaí na daoine eile in san seomra na focail eile.
Tá sé sin go hálinn, Táachchas
Yeah.
sásta gur tháinig duine cín sús leis le gurút duine cíns fás éiche. So just for the people that mightn't understand everything, this group were saying that they came up with the word, well, not that they came up with the word, but one of the words for Irish, to say mushroom in Irish is musharoon. And the second word, which is from the Munster dialect, I believe, is fós ein iche. And the direct translation of that is growing overnight. And I think that really describes beautifully what a mushroom does, because you might be in a garden one evening and then you wake up the next day and there's a pile of mushrooms there that feels like they weren't there the day before. So a fásain iche, it's such a beautiful description of, again, a description of what the mushroom is and what it does. So yeah, gur míle maith as ochta sin a riన్స్. Thank you for sharing that. And then the last question, can someone remind me? Oh yeah, I love this one. How do you say hug as Gaeilge? So if someone from another group would like to share what they came up with there, what they found out, or what they know, so feel free to unmute yourself if you're talking.
We got a lovely one, Cree Ishtak Le Cree, which is lovely, like two hearts in on one another. So that's from Naomi, Gurvmag with Naomi. And then Baroga Hurt the Gwina was another one we had in group one. And then somebody loved us so much they started interrupting our chat, and then it was hard to hear. But we're still full of the love. We've got Cree Ishtak Le Cree.
That Gohalin, Iontach ar fad. And I believe that Críosteach comes from the Ulster dialect. And that's something I only discovered a few years ago. I always used to say, Thuram Barog, give me a hug. But I don't know, I feel like Críosteach is just so much more meaningful and deep, isn't it? Like Críosteach, give me heart inside. Again, it's very descriptive of what the actual experience is. And these are all little words you can bring into your forest school sessions. If you have a cussantor, a guardian tree, or you could say a cuivnor as well, but I think a cussantor is a nicer word. A protector. So the cussantor of the forest, of the coil. You can ask your participants if they want to give the cussantor Críosteach, give the tree a big hug. And then again, depending on the level of Irish in your group, you could do an activity with your participants around like what we just did there, asking them, how do you say, how are you? Or if they don't know, you can teach them all the different ways you can say, how are you? And what dialect that comes from, the way that they're saying it. So there's so much, there's so many ways you can go with this. And in the true forest school sense, let the stuff be child-led and take it from there. Let them direct the way you're going to go with the language. And yeah, just make it fun. Don't make it this big thing, a big task that you're kind of dreading. If you are dreading bringing Irish in, maybe you aren't. So I'm just going to go back to sharing my screen. So you got all them. I don't think anyone came up with anything that I didn't have on the slides already. Bear with me now a minute while this changes. Yeah, so we had them there. Cechi will too, is what we would say in Connacht, Conas Atatu, Munster, Gajamar Tatu, and Ulster, Fossin Iche, Munster, Musharoon, Ulster and Connacht, and then Críosteach, Ulster, and Barrow, Connacht and Munster. So I think the reason why you're here is you want ways that you can actually incorporate Gaeilge into your sessions. So we're going to get into that, into a good bit of detail into that as well. But before we go into the actual activities, I just want to very briefly touch on the key points. So key points on how to incorporate Irish into your forest school sessions naturally without it feeling like a task. So number one, Ividihian, is to create a space where where speaking Irish is enjoyable for everyone. So no pressure, no correcting, meet yourself, you the forest school leader, where you're at. And the same goes for the children and the young people or the adults, whoever it is that's attending your forest school sessions. And to take the pressure off yourself if you are feeling pressure to know everything. And you can do that as well by having an English-Irish dictionary in the forest school with you, or you can use a really useful website called folklore.ie. If you don't remember anything else I say this evening, remember that, folklore.ie. And I'll share this with you, and Kerry will send it out to you again. She'll send you a link to folklore.ie. But it's an amazing resource, guys. And it's basically a dictionary online, and it does English Irish and Irish English. And it also has this amazing thing where it has all the different dialects. So say you want to know how to say, we'll just say mushroom in Connacht. So you click on Connacht and it will pronounce it for you in the Connacht dialect and for all the other dialects that are there. So that's the first thing, just creating a fun space for everyone. Number two, making Irish playful and sensory. So I would advise you to start with what you can see, what you can hear, and what you can feel around you in the forest school setting. So this doesn't have to rob the bank. You don't have to go out and buy loads of equipment to bring Irish into forest school. Just start with the senses and what's around them. And there's a lovely activity that I'm going to talk to you about in a few minutes, but that would kind of cover that as well. And then you can do really simple things depending on the age group that you're working with. You can do things like counting sticks, just picking up sticks and counting them as Gaeilge. Híon, dó, trí, you know? And listening games. So rather than saying, what can you hear? Say, Cad a chluisins tú, Cad a airings tú. And you can do things like getting the participants to tell the weather. So you could start off by just asking them on a weekly basis, Cén sort ampsir bhfuil aine inniu? What kind of weather do we have today? And you could have a weather chart for that as well. I actually have one here for you, so I'll share that with you too. And then repetition is key. So like anything, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And I find that you can help participants along in their like learning Irish by repeating things. So if you have, say, maybe what I did with my pilot program was I started each session with a little circle, and all of the children every morning before we woke up the forest, they all said Mads and Wa, good morning to each other. And they knew by the second week, okay, this is how we start forest school with Lisa. We're going to be in circle and we're all going to say Mads and Wa to each other. And I am aware that the children I was with are fluent Irish speakers, but that doesn't mean that you can't do this with children that don't speak Irish all the time either. And they'll get used to that too. They'll know, oh, I'm in with so and so this day for forest school again, and we're going to start off by saying good morning or good day to each other. So it becomes part of the forest school experience for them. Um, Other things you can do is, yeah, each week you could begin or end your session with some sort of phrase. So if you wanted to start off by waking up the forest, you could say to the children, ask them, Dúise sús, Kyle, get them to say that to the woodland. Wake up. So dúise or dúisig, sús, and Kyle is the woodland. And cull is actually it's the same word for the hazel tree and for forest. So that's an interesting bit of information there as well. Um, and then as well, the final thing I wanted to say is you can implicitly add in Gaeilge through your sessions. Now, you can have a designated time for your Irish in your sessions too, if you so wish. And I do know preschools that do this. They have a designated Gaeilge time and they ring a little bell, the clegging, and then the children know it's Gaeilge, it's Irish time. So you can do that, but what I usually do is I just implicitly add in the Irish. Sometimes I don't even tell the children that I'm speaking Irish. So I'll go in and I'll do whatever I'm doing with them and I'll repeat what they're saying, but I'll do it in Irish. So just say, for example, I think I have something written here, don't I? Yeah, let's say it's raining. Let's say a child comes up to you and they say, oh, it's raining. You can answer them back by saying, oh, is it ag báisteach? Is it raining? So you're repeating certain words in Irish and then back in English again. And after a few times of hearing that, they'll put the correlation together that this person is saying something else in another language, but it's the same thing. So they're just the four things to keep in mind. So uh, a fun space, playful, repetition, and you can implicitly add in Gaeilge, okay? And now let's get into probably the reason why you're here, to get some practical ways to incorporate Irish into your forest school sessions. So I'll just move this slide along. So yeah, so we're going to go into each of these points into a good bit of detail. So the first activity that you can try and do is a tóireacht taisce. So tóireacht means searching for, and taisce is treasure. So a treasure, searching for treasure, a treasure hunt, or a scavenger hunt. You could also use Irish books for storytelling. You can use puppets or other visuals such as pictures. You can do animal games as Gaeilge. You can do tree identification through games, crafts, and play. You can have an allocated time each week in your sessions for participants to learn about and repeat the days of the week. So these are things you can do on a weekly basis. The days of the week, what month is it, the weather, and the emotions, the mochuchan as Gaeilge. And you could do these potentially during your opening circle or your closing circle or whenever feels right for your group. So yeah, we'll go into a little bit more detail now on the tóireacht taisce, the treasure hunt. So you'll see on the screen here, there's a page and there's all these different pictures on it. So this is the Tóraíocht Taisce, the scavenger hunt that I made up for my little group. And what I did was the reason why I did this, so you'll be doing it to incorporate Irish, but the reason why I did it was because I had a group that where I was doing the pilot program was basically their close, their playground, their school playground. So I wanted to make a differentiation between the playground and forest school time. So I really wanted them to start exploring the trees and the different types of trees that were in their playground in the forest school. So I intentionally put in things that I wanted them to focus on. So you have like this the salach here, the willow, and things like the Eignon, the Evan, and all different types of trees. But I also put in things that the children told me themselves were in the playground, such as the hot lava, the lava ta, and the bear's cave, the ploosh, that's a cave, the bear's cave. So this is a fun way to steer the children in the way that you want them to learn. So for you guys, you could give each child this Tóraíocht Taisce page. You can easily make up one of these yourself on Microsoft Word and add in the pictures that are kind of relevant for your group. And what you will do is before they go off and engage in that activity, you will talk them through everything that's on the page, and then you can repeat it in Irish. So let's say the first thing here that I see is there's a buchal, there's a boy, and he's given críosteach, he's given a barrow, he's given a hug to the cussantor, to the protector tree. Um, but see what I'm doing here? It's like I'm saying it in English and then I'm saying it in Irish. And you can easily do that with your groups as well. So that's a little fun way to do it. And I just feel like I'm doing a lot of the talking here. So what I would love for you to do, okay, ignore that. Oh, okay. Yeah, so what I'd love for you to do now is we're going to do a little scavenger hunt ourselves now at Tóraíocht Taisce. So we'll just spend like a minute at this, okay? So I want you to look at the picture that's on the screen. So this was the entrance to my forest school, the pilot program I did. And I want you to look around and you can type in the chat box what you can see. And if you feel comfortable, try and write it in Irish. Don't worry about the spelling, guys. No judgment here. I'm terrible at spelling in Irish myself anyway. So yeah, just type in what you can see on the screen. Um, and if it's easier, you can take yourself off mute and you can say it out loud and we'll see what people come up with. So yeah, I'll just give you a minute now to do this and we'll see what you come up with. And again, this is just a fun way to get you practicing your Gaeilge, okay? So I'm just going to go through the... Okay, yeah, so mála, a bag. Yeah, a few people have spotted the mála, so that's the bag. And zilóga. Zilóga are leaves, and a zilóg is a leaf. Crean. So I would, another way to say crean is creense. So depending on what uh, part of the island you're on, that's how you say trees. Yeah, Brenda Kenny. I don't know what that is. Oh, Obala. Yeah, Obala and Einon. Yeah, excuse me. So Obala. Obala is another word for a wall, or a cly. Some people call a wall a cly as well. And Einon is ivy. Very good, guys. Clocha, rocks. Bali, yeah. Bala cloch, a stone wall. Mala, mala crack. Okay, Carol. Um, Carol, do you mind unmuting yourself? I'd love to know what a mala crack
So would
is.
I. It was a spell check, I think.
Oh,
I was putting cron and it came out
oh,
strange.
Okay, perfect.
A
Because
bag of crack. I mean, a bag of fun. How bad?
yeah, well, it could be a mall of crack. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thanks. Just because, guys, I don't know all the words either, so I'm learning here too. So that's why I kind of called you out, Carol. Um, Ribini Zarug. Yeah, I don't know, is that Ribini Zarug or is it scribbles on the screen? And Gaeilge. Yeah, Gaeilge is a branch. Or branches, sorry, Gaeilge are branches. And
Uh,
banana, yes, there are
Lisa,
bananas.
where I do forest school has a lot of dog walkers, so there's dog poo bags. So what would a poo bag be? Because we find them and pick them and put them in the bin, or love to start composting them at some stage. But what would that be?
Wow. Okay. So
That be
you want a fun way to say a poo bag.
Yeah, but cock is a great word,
Yeah, I
but it's a
know.
bit rude. Is it a bit rude?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
Mala caca? I don't know. Maybe
mo
so.
yeah, Mala. Unless we can make it into like, so the children know it's a poo bag, don't they?
They do. They say poo bag in English, so mala cock. But there's a see. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Does
We
anybody,
should. Yeah, we shouldn't be so like tiptoeing around poo, really. But
maybe that's it too. Yeah. I'd love, if anybody else wants to jump in here, guys, if you've any input or thought on this, I'd love to hear. Um, Again, like I don't have all the answers.
Darren Gamaleshkel, Darren would na mála cac cínta, like it is what it is. Ach dúirt duine aigen an sin, I'd love to compost them. You can't put dog poo bags into the compost because it's toxic waste, so it'll destroy your compost. So just be on a chormach lena rudi sin. It's a general waste job.
No, gur míle maithid Naomi, nuair sama sin.
Gone stro. Gone stro.
Ítach, gur míle maithid. Yeah,
Cad
so
cad bhain an a compost ach
the
um,
chain
ná
on a
chur é
phone.
ar aon rud atá daoine ag ithe. So you can compost it, but you have to put it into a compost that will be out on, we'll say, the grass or somewhere like that, but not where anybody is going to ingest anything because of there's parasites in dog poo that can be passed. So there's a bit of useless information for you now.
Thanks, Steve.
no, it's great, gur maithagat. And
Okay.
just on that, guys, because we're talking about compost. Does anyone know what the Irish word or way of saying compost bin is? Because that's not something that's in my vocabulary, and I had to go on folklore.ie, but I'd love to hear if anyone does actually know, like
Is it
something that you use day to
Moorine?
day.
I've heard MUI or I for the N Moorine. Moorine.
Mooding. Yeah, I believe that's what, I'll just come out of the messages here for a minute, and that's what I'm pretty sure came up on folklore. Yeah, so apologies. I know it's not great. The text, you can't really see it, but let me see, did I put the compost bin even in there? Maybe I didn't. Yeah, I think it is mooding something, whatever it is on folklore.ie. So I'm just cautious of the time. I feel like I could spend ages even just talking about this, and there's so many other things to get through. But there's a list here. So, banana is the same thing in Irish and in English, exactly the same. Banana. And then string is stangon. Rope is ropa. An cussantor is the guardian or the protector tree. The mála dríochta, or the mála as you were calling it, the magic bag. Dríochta, I just love that word, dríochta, magic. The cron is a tree, and then someone has said earlier, creen or creensa or trees. Zilog is a leaf, ziloga, leaves. And then there's a few different ways to say branches in Irish. You can say cravecha, you can say geige and branchy, and then crave, geig, and brancha for a branch. And then the trunk of the tree is the stuck. And we actually in Connemara we call ivy Evan. So maybe some people are familiar with that. But if you go on to the likes of folklore.ie, you'll see Einyan. Okay. So again, guys, there's so many different ways to say the one thing, which I do appreciate and understand can be confusing at times. And then for a few different words for a wall is bala, cly, and sconsa. Fair is grass, mathi or mats. on spare, the sky, buska brewsker, a bin. Oh, it is here. I can't even pronounce that. I'm going to say Ardon Moodine, a compost bin. So that's what was on folklore.ie. Is that what you heard, Brenda? Or was it just Moodine?
I just knew that heard that Maureen was compost,
Moodine.
but then there was a person's name. It's very like Maud. Is there? I know Maureen, but is there a
Moodine.
woman's name that is almost identical to that word? Not Maureen, but a Maureen. No, I don't know.
Not that I know of,
Okay.
but yeah. And just to go back to the question, apologies earlier about the poo bags. Just yeah, as Naomi was saying there, just use the word cock. Maybe we are just scared sometimes to use these words. So yeah, go with that if it feels right. And then I'm going to finish on this, the last word, moss, cuinoch. I love that word. So there's a few words to put into your dictionary if you don't already have them. And I do have a resource for you all that I'm going to share with Kerry, and she'll give to you all afterwards. And it'll have all of these words written in it. So don't be worrying, you don't have to be writing all this down. You'll get it. You'll get it again. So another thing that you can do, and this is something that I do when I'm going around um, promoting the Irish language in a fun way with young people, with children. I work mainly with preschool age children, and they love stories. So what you could do is you could buy any of these books here. So Ungum, the publishers. I think the books are about €4 or €5 each. And I'm going to share a link for them resources with you as well, if you do feel called to use them in your group sessions. And then there's a lovely Lower Moor, a big book of the Far Sinsear that the young people, children absolutely love as well. So if you do feel drawn to using those in your Far School sessions, as I said, you'll have a link to all them resources as well. And another thing you can do is use puppets. So this is a picture from my own pilot program. And what I did was I just set up a little tent, and I had left all of the puppets from Cochalín's Arug, that's Little Red Riding Hood. So all of the puppets from Cochalín's Arug were left in here. But this was on about, I think, week 5 or week 6. So prior to setting up the tent and having the little story tent, for lack of a better word, what I did was, and you could do this too, is you can be really creative and do active storytelling with your group. So you could start with, we'll say, Cochalín's Arug. This one works really well in a forest school setting because Cochalín's Arug is going through the woods anyways, isn't she? And you have the big Mac de Grana, the big bad wolf, and he's hiding in the woods. So what I did is I had the puppets hiding in certain areas of the woods. So I was telling the story along with the children. They were participating in the storytelling, and then we'd get to a certain place and there would be Daddy with the tua, the axe, and then Daddy chases the Moxida. So you can be doing all this. And if you don't have if you don't have Irish excuse me, if you're not fluent in Irish, that's fine. You can just mix it. You can do bits in English and bits in Irish, or just throw in a few words like, oh, the Moxida, the wolf. So that's a really fun way to start bringing the language into your forest school sessions through stories and puppetry. And I'm sure you'll come up with even better ideas yourselves. These are just things that I've done. So then another thing, I'm still talking about the active storytelling here again. So, this is another activity I did in the forest school session. So I brought in acorns, darkons, and the children planted their acorns. But again, the guys I'm working with were only 3, 4 years old. So I thought, okay, the more visuals I have, the better for them. So I just made up this little sheet, and while they were planting the acorns, I was telling this story about the acorns, and that it grows into a mighty crondarach, a mighty oak tree. So you'll get a copy of this. Everything that's on the slides, you guys will get copies of them, okay? So this is something that you can incorporate into your forest school as well. You might just have to wait till, the time of the acorns again, September, October time, isn't it? And then you could do this lovely activity with them and have that printout even left wherever you leave the acorns, and the children can be looking at that. So yeah, sorry, I know I'm flying through things here now. So this is another page that you'll all receive. I was going to get you to name out the things, but I'm just cautious of time. So you'll all receive a copy of this. So this is just a few animal names as Gaeilge. Um, I might have to update this because I'm just looking here at the fox. So I forgot to put in Madra Rua. There's two different ways you can say fox in Irish. You can say Shonach or you can say Madra Rua. So I'll add that in and then we'll share with you all. And
Or
what
can you
you
say the
guys,
slug one? Can you say what a slug is?
the Shelid a Dove.
Oh,
Shelid a Dove. Yeah. Your Irarua, Shelid a Dove, your Shonach slash Madra Rua. The Ulchawan is the owl. The Fia is the deer. The Loch is the mouse. Gráinneog is your, what's it in English? I've forgotten.
Hedgehog.
hedgehog. Yeah.
Thanks. Gurmahagi, the hedgehog, and frog is frog. So again, guys, you can make these up yourselves, but you can use this sheet if you want. And what you could do, even just with this sheet, and I did this with my group, is I got them all to pick one animal that they wanted to make a den for. So they chose that animal and made a little den for it during their forest school session. And another thing you could do is just animal sounds. So they can point to whatever one they want, and then you can repeat that the animal's name in Irish. And that's something you could do for a few weeks. And then after 3 or 4 weeks, the child actually might say to you, "Oh, I want to do something with the Ulchawan," you know? So again, just little fun ways you can bring Irish into your groups. You'll get a copy of this too. So this is just something that I made out for my group. So it's just pictures of trees and leaves as Gaeilge. And something that you could do, because I find even for me, I'm still learning how to identify the trees and the leaves. So you could print these off and laminate them and actually tie them to the trees in your forest school. So if you have a Crondarach, if you have an oak tree, why not laminate this picture and tie it around the tree for the duration of the forest school session? And then each week, even if it's adults you're working with, they'll get used to seeing what that tree is. So that's just another thing you can do. So I have a few other things here. We're not going to get through them all now tonight, unfortunately. But like I said, these are all things that will be given out to you via email, so you can use them in your forest school sessions if you wish. So these are just words and phrases that you can use regularly in your sessions. So I said at the start of the webinar, repetition is key. So just keep that in mind, and these might be a few things that you want to do on a weekly basis or try out even for a week or two in your forest school sessions. So Cain VA, what month is it? So I was gonna get you all to participate, but we're kind of running out of time. So the month right now is Fowra, me Fowra. So you could start just in a circle and ask the kids, Cain VA, what month is it? And then they can tell you it's me Fowra. And depending on the age of your group, you see, it depends on what age group you're working with, really, doesn't it? You could really drag this out, and you could even talk about the different pagan festivals that are like months that are named after Irish pagan festivals. So you have Beltana, you have Lunasa, and you have Sound. So there's so many ways you can go with this. It just depends on your group and your own interests and their interests and all of that. And another thing you could do every week is just to ask your group, Céin lá inniu, what day is it today? De lún, de mort, de céadín, de dín, de hína, de saharin, de dúna. Now, I kind of got carried away here. We're not going to have time to get into this now, but just a fun fact, what I think is a fun fact is day. Day is a word for a god. So in Irish, every day of the week is named after a god. De luin, de mort, de céadín. And a lot of these things are up for debate as well, like what do they mean? So I'm not going to go through them all just because of time restrictions, but Loon, for example, could possibly be named after Lu, the sun god associated with the Tuatha Danann, but it could also be a play on words. So the Latin for moon is Luna. So Luna, say loon, they both sound quite familiar, don't they? So is Monday the day of the moon god? Who knows? But again, these are things you can explore if you so wish. And then another thing is the weather. I was talking about that, and this was something that I do with my group. Each week we would start with this as well. They'd all say good morning to each other, minds and moi. And then I would ask one participant each week to take the little weather chart, which you guys will have, and they would tell the rest of the group what type of day it was that morning. So it could be if it's sunny, tá sé grianmhar, if it's raining, tá sé báisteach, if it's cloudy, tá sé scamalach inniu, if it's windy, tá sé gaoifar, if it's snowing, you can say tá sé cur sneachta inniu, or tá sé steirimiúil. So that's just another thing. And the emotions. The emotions is a really fun way of teaching kids new vocabulary in Gaeilge as well. So this is just something that I use myself when I'm going around doing mindfulness and speaking about the emotions with children. And this is great, but what I do find is sometimes there's confusion around what some of the faces emojis actually are. So if you want to eliminate that confusion, and if your group are old enough, they could actually make out their own emotions chart. And that way you're eliminating that confusion because they're actually drawing the emotion themselves. And on the resource I'm going to send out to you all, get Kerry to send out to you all, I have the names of the emotions. I just don't have them on the screen right now. So you'll have all of the emotions, all of the muchuchan in Gaeilge as well, okay? And then here's another resource as well. If you just want to get something online that's already made, you can go on to twinkle.ie and type in Corti Muchuchan and this will come up. And I think you can get it for free as well, as far as I remember. But again, all of these resources and links will be sent to you, okay? And then that was just, if you want, we won't have time to go through it this evening, but this is just a draft Forest School session that's incorporated every tool that I've given you guys this evening, all the activities that we spoke about, they're all in this Forest School plan, just to kind of bring it all together and to show you, okay, this actually can be incorporated into a Forest School session and quite easily as well. So you'll get a copy of this as well. And you'll have a copy of this. So this is just keywords and phrases for school. So you have there's going to be words I've missed out on here. I know that. But yeah, so there's different headings. So say like if you're trying to talk about clothing, you'll see here I have all the different items of clothing as Gaeilge and the emotions, designated times of the day, and so on and so forth. So you'll be able to look at that in your own time. And again, apologies, guys. I thought we'd have a little bit more time to go through this together, but you'll have the stuff and you will be able to look through it yourselves. Yeah, and again, you'll have all these resources sent out to you. So you'll know where to get the books as Gaeilge if you want to. You'll know where to get the puppets. And these are all Irish companies as well. And you'll have all those handouts and yeah, the websites. And this is just a little, yeah, we might actually skip that one. Do I have a minute, Kerry, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we can eat into the question and answer. Don't worry, 'cause it's really interesting, Lisa. So yeah, have another 5 minutes to go ahead, of course. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because this is the last slide we'll do now, but this is just for fun, okay? So here's some observations on Irish words and their link to nature and spirituality. So you've probably all heard bilog, or maybe you didn't, I don't know. So a bilog is the Irish word for a piece of paper, a sheet. But if you break that down, billa is an ancient sacred tree. That's the Irish word. Billa is the ancient sacred tree, and oak means young. So a young sacred tree, how does that change into becoming a piece of paper? I don't know, but I just think it's fascinating. And it goes to show that connection with the Irish language and nature. So a bilog. And it sounds very similar to zilog, doesn't it? And a zilog is a leaf. but the leaf is still on the tree. So is bilog a way um of showing people that okay, it's no longer a part of the tree, but it came from the tree. I don't know, but I think it's all very exciting. And then the second thing is you can't actually speak Irish and not sound holy. So whether you're holy or not, it doesn't matter. But when you're speaking Irish, you actually sound holy. And this is something I've noticed myself. So say if you want to say hello in Irish, you have to say Zia Ruts, God be with you. And then if you want to be polite and reply to the person that said hello to you, you have to say Zia is Motherhuts. So God and Mary be with you. And then if you want to say goodbye, you can say slán, goodbye, or you can say slán agus beannacht. So a beannacht is a blessing. And then just to touch on the days of the week again, they loons, they morts, they céading, they all start with God or a God. So I just find this all fascinating. And then two more things, place names. So most townlands and place names are named after trees or the natural landscape found in that area. So the language remembers what the land was or what was in or on the land once upon a time. And if you want to delve into this, if you're interested in this you could log on to loganim, loganim.ie, and you can write in your townland, the name of your townland, and it will actually tell you how it got its name. And a lot of the time it is tied to nature. So that's something you could even bring into your forest school sessions or just for your own interest. So these again are just little examples of Gaeilge in place names. So Kildare, Kildare. Kill is a church, an old word for church in Gaeilge. And anywhere you see Dara or Dede, that's all to do with oak. So Kildare means Church of the Oak. Dhomhnaill, a dún is a fort. And the Gael were like the strangers, the foreigners. And we know here in Donegal it was the Vikings, so the fort of the Vikings. And yeah, there's loads of different examples of that. And then finally, I just find this hilarious. Describing someone as good looking or attractive, even that has a link with nature when you're talking in Irish. So I don't know about other parts of the country, but here where I am, if you want to say that a man is quite attractive looking, you would say, oh, is Bron stacka. He's a fine stack. But a stack is a sea stack. So if you look at the image here at the bottom of the screen, you'll see the sea stack is like the taller rock that's away from the mainland. So you're basically saying that a good-looking man is a sea stack. And then for a woman, you would say, is bra on stumpa I. She's a fine stumpa. But a stumpa is a sea stump, and that's the smaller rock beside the sea stack. So yeah, there's so many correlations, like connections to Irish words and nature. And then finally, I just want to finish off by saying, remember, forest school is Gaeilge can look like single words or repeated phrases as Gaeilge, which can easily be added into your forest school sessions. It's not about being fluent, it's about creating connection. And then I just really believe that Irish naturally belongs in forest school. This language, when you think about it, it was a way of communication for people who came long before us, who were in deep, deep relationship with the land, the elements and the seasons. So therefore, speaking Irish, in my opinion, helps you to open a door that leads to a deeper connection to the seasons, as well as the nature and the elements around you in your forest school groups. So ban tanyavas on Thuras, just enjoy the journey and see where the young people, the children, the adults, whoever it is that's in your forest school session, see where they kind of bring it, take it to. Yeah, I wish I had more time with you all. I feel like we've really rushed through that, but we do have, yeah, actually we've a few minutes until we've a few minutes now if people do want to ask any questions about anything. And like I said, I mightn't have the answer, but please do feel free to ask any questions about anything that we've covered, or maybe anything that didn't make sense that you want clarity around, anything at all. Feel free to ask or put questions in the chat box if you don't want to say it out loud. Oh, gur maith agat Sinead. Thank you very much. Gael from the Welsh. Gaeilge. Rory, what does that mean? I feel like Rory should have been doing this presentation this evening.
Oh, not at all. Gael comes from Gaeilge, a Welsh word meaning like wild man of the woods.
Ah, so is this to do with Dún and all, is it? Or what's this, the
Oh
Gael?
no, no, not Gael, no, Gael. Well,
So
like
Gael.
Gaeilge, Gaelach.
Okay, yes.
I was just chatting to someone else in the discussion there. Sorry. Oh, I have a question for you, Egmuna os Gaeilge. Certainly here in Dublin, where you have bilingual families where maybe the parents don't speak Irish, but the kids are in Gael school. And in certain schools, I'm in a couple of Gael schools, but there's a certain one I'm in where they will speak English to kind of rebel. And I don't want to, like when I was in secondary in Gael school, it was like you got in trouble for even saying a word that was English, like, well, hey, do you know what I mean? So I struggle with that. I don't want to be strict with them or anything. I just want them to come to Irish naturally, but they can speak Irish and they're just kind of pushing against me. So what I usually say, if they're like, give me a knife or give me a sparker to light a fire, I'll say Kirkeshter Mangaelga, but I'm looking for other ways maybe that you have to miali de stach without being strict.
I think what I would do in that situation is I wouldn't even highlight that they're doing that because they're looking for a rise, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I would do there is if they're saying something in English, you can just say it back to them in Irish. You know, like if you know they understand, you can just say it
Mm,
back to them fully. Use a full sentence like Lawer Lohab
mm,
Gaeilge. But if it's a thing
mm.
that Níl Mór an Gaeilge Acub, like they don't have a whole lot of
Oh,
Irish, or do
oh
are
no,
they?
that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely, it's just like it's like I was saying about putting Irish in implicitly. So just it's like there's just pretend that they're talking to you in Irish and you just answer them back in Irish. And then after a while they'll
Yeah.
be like, "Oh, we're getting no reaction out of this fella." That's what I would assume would happen. Yeah.
I went with Ní Dhomhnaill for quite a while, which works up until about second class because there's
Yeah.
quite a few kids who are fully immersed. One of them asking why one of our leaders couldn't speak Irish, and I was like, "Oh, because he grew up in England. They don't speak Irish there." And she's like, "Are you sure Nachul sé door?" I was like, "No, no, no, no." She thought he couldn't
Yeah.
understand Irish. She thought something was up with him, and I was like, "Oh, they don't speak Irish." So I took that approach with the younger classes where I don't speak English at all, and that's fine. They'll speak Irish away.
Yeah. And maybe another thing is to put the ball back in their court and to their field and ask them like, Ken Ruddy will should be of like what do you want to talk
Hmm.
about today? So they don't feel
Yeah.
like they're being told what to say or do as such. It's them leading it. Just it's all about trying to get them excited, isn't it? And involved. So yeah,
Yeah.
maybe just
So,
asking
like,
them.
it's certainly in after schools. I've had kids from Gael schools, from different Gael schools, come to after schools or camps, and it's the only time I've seen them proudly speak Irish. On average, is when I say "Totanga Roondog," you've got a secret language here that no one else understands. That's
Mm.
the only time I've seen them actively use Gaeilge outside of school or outside of like in a social setting like forest school.
And it is a Tangaroonda. It really is a
Yeah.
secret language. And I don't know if I expressed that enough in the short time we were together, guys, but when you speak Irish, you see things differently. It's like the thing with Zé Loon, Zé Morts. There's so many different things that get lost in translation, but when you speak Irish, you get it. Like the place names, that's fascinating. That's something you could do with them as well, is get them onto Loganim and get them to type in their townlands and things like that and explore that. That could be fun.
I have a question, Lisa.
Yeah,
Um, you know the word barog for hug, does it have another meaning? Like the word barog, like
that is a fantastic question, and it is not one that I've sat with, so I cannot answer that for you. But Yeah, bar oak. What does that mean? Oak is young. What does a
Yeah.
bar mean? Does anybody else have
Is
any
bar like
insight?
something like head or height or something like that, isn't it?
Bar. Yeah,
Bar
bar.
fin.
Bar. Oh, spar. Yeah, bar oak. See, it's fascinating, isn't it?
Mm.
But folklore.ie is quite good as well because they
Mm.
have, like I was saying, Carol, they have an Irish English section as well. So if you type the word in as Gaeilge, it will answer it through Gaeilge. So if you're confident enough with your level of Irish, it'll give you more information that you wouldn't get if you were putting in English to Irish. So yeah, you might get something there as well.
I will. I'll look it up. That was great. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
I'm
Brilliant.
sorry I don't have all the answers.
That was great. It
But
was such a really lovely workshop.
hmm. Oh, and I hope you all got something out of it anyway. Um, and like I said, it was quite rushed. I thought, oh, we'll have loads of time, and then I thought, oh my goodness, no, I don't have enough time to go
There's
through half
never
the
enough
things here.
time. There's never enough time.
Oh,
There's still time for questions if anyone else wants to ask Lisa a question, because you're full of lovely information. Would you have any songs, any Irish songs that we could kind of correlate with Imblock and Gaeltacht and
Sh
different?
sh Sinead, I am the worst when it comes to songs and things like that. I'll be honest, I'm allergic to it. Um, but I did send you're looking for songs for in bulk and things, is it?
Yeah, just to correlate with the variation of seasons.
Seasons, yeah.
Um, like I have one there now. I was saying it to the girls, like Diliga Boasa Diasa Bui. So lovely yellow leaves.
Yeah, that's
And that
beautiful.
one was really lovely. I can send that one on actually. I can pop it in, but it was a really lovely one. And I had a dance with it as well. Now I'm useless as well, Lisa, when it comes to songs and stuff.
Hmm.
But it's one thing I'm trying to like get myself out of, out of my comfort zone. So I got like a whiteboard and I brought that with me and then had it on the wrote the they I suppose the Irish letter or Irish words on the the song on the thing and then put the what's it called what do you call it thing underneath to try and be able to pronounce it, the phonetics
Phonetics, yeah, that's brilliant.
underneath, and then the kids kind of got it really easily that way, and then I could kind of grasp it as well at the same time while also trying to teach them the songs. But I found that brilliant if there was any um for songs and stuff. But I'm trying to think of any other ones because all I know is Dilico Diasa Bui now. And I'm like, I wonder if there's any more.
Yeah, so I don't know of any, but
Mm,
there's a local Nina that
mm,
I have a good enough relationship with them, so I
yeah.
can go and ask them. And if I do find anything, I can send it on to Kerry, if that's okay, Kerry. And
That
then
would
you
be
can
amazing.
share it with the group. Because even when I was doing up this webinar, I was cautious of that I didn't have any like rhymes or songs or anything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will. I'll do a bit of research, and if I can find anything from people locally, like I said, I'll forward it on to Kerry. Is that
And
okay?
as
Yeah,
Naomi was saying there, we'll have to start making up our own Irish songs.
you
That'd be
can.
brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah,
There,
you
there's
can.
a there's a nice book called Cnuggaja Cnoggaja. It's from on Clo Connachta. It's got loads of like short songs in it, like just a couple of verses or a couple of lines, like four and five line songs in it. It's a pretty old book, but it's got like tons of really, really easy songs, a lot about nature and stuff like that. And then there is, what is it, Chelscana Re Cormac, like the instructions of King Cormac. They have whole sections of like it's triads about there's triads on nature in it. So that's all the descriptors of nature and plants and stuff. It's in old and translated into early Irish. It's on the Celt.ie, the UCC Celtic Languages website. There's
Brilliant.
loads of great stuff in there as well.
Okay,
Can
excellent.
you
Health.ie.
could you actually spell that, Rory, the Cleigina, or
Uh,
type it
uh,
in?
Cnuggaja Cnoggaja.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
we're going to do my spelling now. Okay, one
Or
sec.
or
Oh,
even
do you know what? I'll find the title. I'll just post up the picture of the book. How about that?
That'd
yeah,
be brilliant.
great. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
And see
Thank
this,
you.
like this is great, guys, you know, and I knew this coming on the webinar. You're all a wealth of information, so please don't feel like you can't share things. If you're sitting there and you know something that would be valuable for someone else, please type it in or say it out loud. And this is helping me as well. So thanks so
Thank
much.
you. Thanks.